Good morning. My name is Brittany Grant. I'm the Hill's Director of Business Development. Welcome to this morning's event, History Makers, Women, and the 116th Congress. What an exciting and special way to celebrate Women's History Month. I'd like to begin by thanking our sponsors, Wells Fargo. Thank you for your continued partnership and support. We are so grateful. The 116th U.S. Congress has found a place in the record books, not only for having the most diverse class in history, but also the largest number of women lawmakers. Following an election cycle that has inspired many political newcomers to run for office, there are now 127 women serving in the Senate and the House of Representatives. What does their energy and enthusiasm signify for the present and the future of this country? Today, on the eve of International Women's Day, we are thrilled to hear from some of the newly elected history-making female lawmakers and veteran female members of Congress. We will also be joined by a panel of experts to learn how both parties are working to inspire more women to enter into careers in public service. A few quick housekeeping notes for you. In addition to our audience here at the Gallup Building, we are also live streaming on thehill.com. So please keep your phones on silent throughout the duration of the program. But we do encourage you to engage in conversation on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn with the handle @TheHillEvents, and join the conversation by using the hashtag #TheHillWomen116th. We're going to be taking questions from the audience during the program, so please be on the lookout for members of our team with handheld mics. Finally, you will receive an electronic survey following the conclusion of today's event. Here at the Hill, we're always eager to hear how we can make our events more dynamic, so I encourage you to take a few minutes to provide your feedback on today's program and your experience. I would now like to introduce our sponsor for some brief remarks. Please welcome to the stage Mary T. Mack, Head of Consumer Banking with Wells Fargo & Company. Mary, thank you for being here today. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks, Brittany, and thank you to an amazing group of women who pulled this together in fairly short notice. This is an impressive event and incredibly inspiring to be here with all of you all. You know, just 100 or a little bit over 100 years ago, Congresswoman Jeanette Rankin of Montana became the first woman elected to federal office. And some would say it shouldn't have taken us this long, but we wind up here today with a record-breaking number of women in Congress, 51 of whom are women of color. It's an amazing place to be in National Women's History Month, as well as International Women's Day Eve. And I'm delighted and inspired to be here with you all. You know, you all are creating real change, and it's really cool to see some of the change that's happening in one of the most visible places in America. Women are enacting change for working parents on Capitol Hill with baby changing tables in members-only bathrooms, nursing stations around the building, and congressional schedules that are flexing to help not only women but men who are managing families and responsibilities and being full people as they lead our country. If you think about it, as a woman who has, I've been with Wells Fargo for almost 35 years, it's amazing to see the change that you all are driving here and accelerating for all of us who are watching. And honestly, as the mom of 3 daughters, I couldn't be happier for the world that you all are creating for my girls and for women across the country. As I said, I joined Wells Fargo more than 34 years ago, almost 35 now, in something that we called a small business banker in a town called Gastonia, North Carolina. It's outside of Charlotte, a little town. I was newly married and started on a career that, honestly, I thought I'd end up, moving around a bit. 34, 35 years later, I've had the chance to do some really interesting stuff. And I now lead consumer banking, which is our community bank network of branches, our mortgage division, our auto division, and really everything you think about taking care of our consumers. I joined that organization about 2.5 years ago to drive a lot of the change that you've been reading about with Wells Fargo. But it's not just me. Tim Sloan, our CEO, has a operating committee of 9 people, 4 of whom are women. who lead our payments, digital, and innovation group, our new chief risk officer, our new auditor joining the company are all women who are driving change at Wells Fargo. We're also, 42% of our board are women, and we made history last year when Betsy Duke became the first female board chair of a major U.S. bank. So we've been working hard not to transform just at the board and the top of our company, but throughout the company. 56% of our team members are women, and we support families associated with 250,000 team members across the country. We offer up to 16 weeks or 4 months of paid parental leave for a primary caregiver, and another 4 weeks for a spouse who also would like to take the time, who might not be the primary caregiver. We also support homes and home ownership, which is essential to the American family and the American dream. Through our LIFT programs, and we just had one in DC last month, right? We have done now 68 LIFT programs across the country since 2012, creating over 20,000 new homeowners. It's focused on down payment support, credit counseling, support with partnerships and nonprofits. Almost $449 million, John, I bet you can get that over $450 million invested in new sustainable home ownership across the country, which is really making a difference. But if I think about my own journey, I feel like I've been really lucky to be at Wells Fargo during a very difficult time, both for our company and for me and team members personally over the years. Being a leader through the transformation that we've been going through over the last 2.5 years has been both invigorating, challenging. I get to see firsthand all the progress that's happening for customers and team members across the country. But I'll tell you, all of that pales in comparison to the support that Wells Fargo gave me during my most difficult time. So 4.5 years ago, I mentioned that we have 3 daughters. 4.5 years ago, quite suddenly, we lost our oldest daughter. She was 23 years old. She was headed to get her master's, and she was fluent in Spanish and wanted to serve women who were victims of sex trafficking. She died suddenly, and I can tell you, as a mom, as a parent, it's your worst nightmare. It's the most devastating thing you could imagine, and nothing prepares you. But something does support you. And in the case of my experience, that was Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo wrapped its arms around me as my family mourned and began to become whole again. And I would tell you that thanks to the support primarily of 250,000 team members who also have their own stories that they bring to work every day, we're able to support people in a way that really matters. And I would tell you today, the choice that I made was to choose optimism. We've got an opportunity to make a real difference. Sure, there are plenty of challenges in the way, but we've got an opportunity to make a real difference. So every day I wake up thinking, you know, I have a choice. And today I'm going to choose positivity and optimism. And usually 2 cups of coffee in, I'm as positive and optimistic as you would want me to be. And so I would say that I want you to keep watching because I'm really proud of the things that we're doing, and I'm really encouraged by the things that you're doing with smart, capable, impressive, inspiring women leading our country. So thank you, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to participate.